Hello and welcome to Riceball Conflict Season 2, Episode 2. Uh, Pulling into the second season, I am Cyan, your normal Riceball Conflict host, and this week I brought in a very familiar guest. If you've been listening to the Digimon Conflict, I brought in Keja.
Hi.
uh, Figured Keja be the best next customer, next guest to have. You're now a customer,
Victim.
Keja. Next victim. Pretty much.
I feel like victim is more accurate.
Listen, you're the one that's been on your romance anime kick. I'm just utilizing it as a content.
I am thriving.
But yeah, so a little late because it's definitely not Valentine's Day anymore. But you've been watching a lot of romance anime. You're fairly deep into the anime rabbit hole now, and we've watched a lot of the same romance anime, whether they're ones I've recommended or not, and then I'm probably gonna get you to watch several more by the end of this episode.
Oh lord. Like I need more to add to my list.
Yes, you always need more.
I really do. I'm running low, but also I've been trying to get off it.
To be fair, have I
Science
ever
like no.
have I ever led you wrong with a recommendation so far?
You really have not, honestly.
See?
Like I was iffy about Nana, and then I watched it and I was like, oh, it's so good.
And I was honest with you, I'm like, it's not necessarily a romance anime, but it's like it's got the romance that you're going to want. It's got the messy drama of a romance that you're going to like.
It's got that main character energy of that like girl that I utterly relate to who cannot like get into a good relationship at all.
It's so like I guess since I'm like Nana is a romance anime, I don't fully count it as one because I don't ever recommend it as a romance anime per se. But it does do romance and like character development really well
Oh
because
my god.
there's a time
Yeah.
I related to Hachi really well and I was like, why is she like me? I hate this. I hate this so
That
much.
was me when I was watching it.
Yeah. But I mean between both of them, because like Nana and Rin and their whole relationship is so devastating, both like the past and the present versions of it. And
Mm-hmm.
for context for anybody that ever watches this and shows up in Keja's chat, Keja has not read the manga, so she does not know where it lays off. So,
I I may have done one Google
oh
because
no, oh no, what'd you find out? What'd you find out?
given the whole thing you told me about the Rin that they were talking about
Uh huh.
not being the Rin that I knew, I was like, something happened to Rin. So I may have Googled it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was not okay.
This is why I didn't want to tell you.
I mean, to be fair, when you tell me, yeah, they named their kid Rin, I was like, they don't just name their kid after a person that they're friends with for no reason.
Listen, I wasn't going to tell you that you asked about it, okay?
I know.
I was just being honest. But
It was just like the closure I needed.
yeah, not the closure you wanted, but I guess.
Not the closure I wanted, but the closure I needed.
But yeah. But no, going into like, cause so you had Nana and Ren's relationship, you had Shin and Reira's relationship, which was a whole other can of worms.
Oh
So
lord.
it's so precious, but also just goddamn. You had the hints of past flames between Yasu and Reira, and
That
Reira's
was tragic.
Reira's love for Takumi, um,
And then ugh.
and then there's Hachi.
Hachi and all of her people.
And
But
like,
the Takumi and Hachi thing, I have so many feelings.
It's so rough because it is kind of almost like the perfect match for her in a way, but also,
Mm.
God, if she would have just waited for Nobu.
I felt so sad for Nobu. Oh my god, the last episode, it killed me.
It's so rough because like, yeah, the last episode is your first glimpse into the future, right? Where it's like them at the
Yeah,
apartment. Yeah.
it's the firework festival.
Mm-hmm. So from the manga continuing after that, you get a lot more of the flash forwards to that fireworks festival and them all meeting up, and you'll get pieces of the conversation that they'll have, and it'll answer questions that from the past, but it'll also
Mhm.
raise other questions like they'll mention Rin or something, or mention Rin being with Reira, and you're like, oh, that's interesting, and then you'll get back to the past, and then you see what happens to the Rin, and then you're like, wait, what? And then flash forward, and you see Rin with
Oh,
Reira, and it's not that Rin.
it's not that Ren, yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of answers questions that way, where it's just like, okay, you're going back and forth, and it's answering questions, and then giving you more questions, and you go back and it answers the questions, and it gives you more questions, and it's very fun and very interesting for a narrative perspective.
Mhm.
But
Even like that one episode when
mhm,
they started using that narrative tool, I was like, this is so cool, but
mhm.
also I'm so confused.
Yeah, it also it's fun because it's something that they did from the very beginning in a way, because at the beginning of every episode and the beginning of every chapter you get the dialogue of Hachi, like, what if
Oh
I
my
had done this
god.
better, talking back of like, yeah, sorry, I messed up with this, or what are you doing now, and it always raises that question of like, wait,
What
why,
happened?
yeah, what's going on.
Yeah. And I almost like am tempted to rewatch it knowing what I know now and like having finished it
Hmm.
just to like listen to those dialogues again
Right,
because
it makes sense
they
now.
were so sad and like yeah, knowing what I know, even though some things still are not answered at all, I'm like I feel like those dialogues are just so much more impactful.
Hmm. Wait, did I tell you? Does Misato's secret come out in the anime?
No, it doesn't, but I think you told me.
Okay,
And
okay,
I was like, oh my god.
okay, okay. Yeah, like her true identity. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was hinted at a few times with
Hmm.
oh, what's his name? Yasu being like, "Who are you really?"
Yeah.
But like the answer, it was never actually answered.
I'm so sad that we'll never get the continuation of that either, and we'll never get all the like full answers.
Oh, if they actually made the rest of it into anime, I'd be so happy. But like, I know why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I understand it because like she got sick, and depression took over her writing and led to some things happening, and she can't get back in that mindset. I get it. But now we're all in depression because of the way that manga ended.
Literally,
um,
absolutely devastating.
it's so fucking good though, man. It's one of my favorite mangas of all time, and that comes a lot from me as someone who does not generally read manga. Like,
Hmm.
and granted, I'll still watch the anime over reading the manga, but like getting that final little bit sometimes just helps until you find out what
Absolutely.
happens.
Until you find out what happens, and then you wish you never read it.
Right. So, big question:
uh,
what's your favorite romance anime?
oh God. Hold on. Let me look at my list. What is
Mm-hmm.
my favorite romance anime?
Because I know we've talked about a few of them. Um, but even I don't even know all the ones that you've watched per se, aside from the ones that I've recommended, and of course Horimiya. So,
I was gonna say Horimiya. Hmm. Give me a second.
oh, of course, there's always Kamisama Kiss. That I think is the first anime I've ever heard you talk about that wasn't fairy tale.
I adore Kamisama, but because it was never finished, I can't say that it was my favorite because without that, uh, with the way that it left off, it
Mhm.
really it doesn't feel finished.
Right.
Um, but Kamisama is definitely up there. Uh, hmm. That's actually really difficult because I don't. I feel like I would class Fruits Basket as my favorite romance, not because it's a good romance, but just because I adore the anime so much.
That's fair. Yeah, we both talked like we adore Fruits Basket. We both really love it, and we don't really like we love the romance aspect of it, but it's just I can
It's
never.
not the main thing of
Yeah,
the anime.
it's there. It's definitely present. It's definitely like at least half of the story. But like when I go in and recommend Fruits Basket to somebody, I'm not recommending it to somebody who wants a romance anime because it's not really there in the first season at all. It's hardly even there in the second
Yeah.
season. It's all in the third.
Hmm. I've been watching, as you said earlier, I've been watching a lot of romance animes recently, and I've
Mm-hmm.
loved every single one of them. But it's almost because I've been watching so many, none of them have like stood out like amazingly
That's
as much
fair.
as like Horimiya and Kamisama did when I first watched them.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Nana is up there as well.
Yeah. Well, Horimiya is very a unique case because Horimiya is it's a very popular romance that isn't a shojo, and I think it's the first one that blew up the way it did. That it's actually a shonen. Um, whereas
Yes.
I think is one of the reasons why I like it so much is because like my biggest problem with a lot of romance shows is they're shojo and they have that generic shojo protagonist that kind of
Hmm.
ends up irking me after a while. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. I get bored with it. So Horimiya, like both of its characters are not as fluffy and pure as your typical shojo heroine and main male love interest, and
Mm.
you gravitate to them so much more. Like they have so many really cute moments once like the romance hits off. Like once they start actually like dating and stuff. Um, God, he's so fucking smooth with some of the shit he pulls.
Oh my god, I keep having the freaking orange scene
Oh my
show up
god,
on my Twitter, and
I
I
love that.
freaking love it so much.
Uh, it was that one. It was the one with the candy as well,
Oh my
where he just
gosh. He's
sneaks
so
he
smooth.
sneaks it in there with like the other friend in the room, and the other friend just has no idea. It's so fucking good.
I'm just like, if a man can like fluster me in secret, I am sold.
Right? It's so good because like the manga, I've read most of the manga for Horimiya. I did unfortunately kind of lose interest because it is very slower paced, which is something that I um struggle with for romance a lot because my whole thing is like
Mhm.
I need it to hurry it happen. If I'm here for the romance, I need it to the romance to actually happen. Uh but for Horimiya, I was so invested for so long because I was just invested on like both of them dealing with like their secret lives and like finally being able to come out to each other with like, oh, somebody finally knows my secret and they're not judging me on it kind of thing. And it was I
Mhm.
was so invested in that friendship, and it's the closest I've ever gotten to enjoying a slice of life type setting. Um, and then when the romance finally does start like kicking off and they finally start dating in the manga, it feels like so long. And then the anime just breezed through it. The anime was just like, yeah, fuck all the fluff. We're just gonna give it all to you right here.
I was gonna say, so did they cut out? I know that they brought. That's why they made the second season was so
Mhm.
they could bring in a lot of the bits that they cut out.
They
Um,
cut out a lot.
so you haven't seen the second season, right?
No, but I've read the manga, so I know most of the scenes from the manga.
Right. Um, so is do you think the second season covers? basically what they missed in the anime for the first season from the manga, or is there still more?
I would say there's probably gonna still be more because if I'm correct, the manga's like 140 chapters.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's a decent checklist. Yeah, it's 139 chapters actually, 17 volumes. So there's a lot of content they could have covered, and given that
Mhm.
the anime was what, 13 episodes? Yeah, 13
Yeah,
episodes.
and then the second season was also 13
Yeah, you're
episodes.
not covering that many chapters in 26 episodes. So there's
That is
definitely
very fair.
there's definitely a lot they missed, but I think a lot of what they did miss was a lot of the drawn outness.
Mhm.
I'm very curious to like revisit it and actually finish the manga and
Mhm.
then watch the anime side by side, and I might actually do this, which is going to be really hard for me to read that much manga in one sitting, but I'll do it because I am curious how much they have cut out other than the beginning parts, because it is just a lot of, from what I remember, the very beginning just being him coming over to her house to hang out with her and her brother, and then them having little interactions at school, and then he goes and hangs out with the brother, and they meet up at school, and
Yeah.
like it's a lot of that for a decent amount of time. So
See, that's something that is very nice in the manga, or not the manga, sorry, the anime,
yeah,
is like they literally start dating very quickly.
they do, which I think, and this is why I think it happens so later, because I dropped Horimiya initially, um, were before they had ever started dating. Like while it was the manga was still airing or still coming out, and I was just like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm bored. I was told this was romance. I'm enjoying this, but I'm not enjoying this enough to like keep going. And then it was like a year later, somebody told me like, oh, literally the chapter you dropped at, the next chapter they start dating. I was like,
Oh.
oh, okay. And so I ended up picking it back up, and I ended up reading more of it. But I think I caught up again, and I think that's why I never finished it. But
That is very fair.
yeah, because it's hard for me to read manga weekly or monthly, however often this came out, because it takes like 2 minutes to read a chapter of a manga. I'm
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'm bored now. I want more.
I'm like, at least if you get a book of a manga, like it takes you maybe 15 minutes to read the book.
Exactly.
But like if you're just reading it chapter by chapter online, like it takes no time at all.
Yeah, and I never could do that. So like I had intended to wait for it to finish it and pick it up, and I never did. And then they announced the anime. I was like, oh cool, I never have to do that again. It's fine.
Understandable, honestly.
Yeah, but you do
I
get.
something I Hmm?
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say something I really struggled with the second season is like everyone was like, "Oh, you should like switch between the first season and the second season." I'm like, but nobody's
How?
gonna do that. First of all,
Yeah.
uh, and like that is the thing is the second season is literally just those filler bits in between, and they're really cute moments,
Mm-hmm.
but like it is literally just little bits and pieces, like just slice of life, little like cute moments or like moments with other characters. Like you
Right.
get the mom and dad's backstory,
Mm-hmm.
and like which is cool, but then it's like, well, it's 13 episodes of kind of nothing, whereas
Right.
the first season it's so well done, it almost didn't need a second season.
It's kind of, it's interesting in a way, because the only other anime I've known that's done something similar, and I could be very wrong because it's very possible that other anime have done this before and other anime have done this since. But the only other anime I know that's done this is Persona 4, because Persona 4
Hmm.
came out with an anime um, before Persona 4 Golden, the game came out. And then they decided to do it, well, they made Persona 4 Golden the animation, but instead of remaking the entire anime, the Golden animation just had the scenes of the stuff they cut out. Because you've played Persona 5,
Oh,
so you know how like they incorporated new characters into Persona 5, like
yeah.
the gymnast chick and the counselor and stuff like that. Like those are new characters to Royal that weren't in the original P5. They did something similar with Golden, where they introduced two new characters. Well, a new character and then another new confidant that's an existing character, and then some extra scenes and stuff that goes along with it. So the Golden animation is just those extra characters' moments in the anime, and you kind of just have to figure out where to place them into the story yourself for the original anime.
Do you think that's a good like way of doing it? Because I don't know
No.
if I. Yeah, I'm like I don't really like that.
I think it works better for Horimiya just because, I mean, in a way, it's kind of just the way a lot of romance anime tend to play out sometimes. Of just like, here's a bunch of little cute moments without any context. You don't really need it, but here it is. So
Yeah.
you can watch them kind of out of order. So if you just want that little extra fluff, those extra spicy moments on the side, you can go back to it. But I don't think it worked well for Persona at all. I think it was very jarring. And that comes from someone that hasn't watched Missing Pieces yet, so.
I can definitely see, like, with a slice of life, it's way less, like, I don't know, concerning. Like, it feels normal to just, like, watch the episodes, but it's still, like, even, I watched the Horimiya again before I watched Missing Pieces,
Yeah.
and I'm like, so I can figure out where these episodes are meant to fit in.
Right.
But, like, not everyone's gonna do that.
No. There's probably a guide online to tell you where to do it now at this point, but.
Yeah, I looked at it, and there was people who are like, "Yeah, stop halfway through this episode
Oh
and
my
go watch
God.
this episode,
Oh,
and
that's
then come back."
horrible.
And I'm like, "No, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do that."
I'll probably watch pieces after I've reread the manga, just so like I have that extra incentive to actually finish the manga. Because if I just watch pieces, I'm probably just not gonna read the manga. So
Understandable, honestly.
So I'll probably do that and then give it a rewatch and then watch pieces. And I can give a full opinion on it then. But since it has been a while since I've read the manga and since I haven't finished it, I can't give a full like, yeah, they shouldn't have done this, or they only cut this much out, because I don't fully remember.
Yeah, and that's understandable.
Yeah. So on anime that do kick it off very quickly, because I suggested that you watch Say I Love You, which you
Yep.
you watched and immediately were just like, they're kissing already.
I literally started it. Well, you were like, I was like, well, what anime do I watch? You're like, Say I Love You. I'm like, bit. Literally, like half an hour later, I'm messaging Cyan, being like, what the They're literally like making out in the first episode.
Yep.
I had so many mixed feelings about it, honestly.
But he's hot.
He is hot. He's so well designed, honestly.
Yeah.
And like speaking of Horimiya, like their relationship in Say I Love You felt very similar to Horimiya's vibes.
I agree.
So it was like, it was so good. But
Yeah.
like, watched the first two episodes, which was very intense opening to the anime, and got very overwhelmed with everything that happened in the first two episodes. And took a break from the anime for like a month. And then like came back to it, and I was like, oh, this is like squishy and cute now.
Yep.
I don't know how to process this.
It really throws you into the thick of it. It's very much my favorite romance anime of all time, and it's because like it, again, like you said, it throws you right into it. It comes in swinging, but it deals more on like the actual romance of them, the relationship itself. It shows them where the biggest problem they have is communication on both sides, where she's struggling to communicate because she's not used to like having to even deal with people at all, but she's used to kind of being blunt, and he's not used to having somebody that's not that blunt with him and somebody that's more needy, I guess, more your stereotypical like girl who's just kind of there when she wants the attention kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
they play with it a lot between the two of them of like, oh, he misinterpreted something and she has to correct him on it, or he has to teach her how to do something better, and she betters herself as a person and is able to like come out of her shell and make friends, and he's able to kind of get away from some of the toxic people he's been dealing with and get out some of his toxic behaviors as being like the popular kid. You know, it's really cute seeing them grow together and seeing them develop not only individually but together in a relationship. And it has one of my favorite kiss scenes in all of anime, and it's the one where she runs up to him and just grabs him by the tie and pulls him down, and then he realizes from that he fucked up.
Oh, that was so good.
It's such a hot scene, and it's just like
in the middle of school as well, by the way.
There's so many good moments of it, and there's like the sad moment when the bracelet breaks and they're picking up the pieces, and I'm like, oh. And she meets his little sister, and she sees herself in the little sister.
Oh my god, I love the little sister. I was literally, when she was first introduced, I was like, her voice is so familiar. And then I googled it, I'm like, she's Windy, my baby girl!
Yes.
As soon as I found that out, I was like, I love her. Other than the one time when he gets sick and she's like, he doesn't want to see you, and I'm like, this little brat.
Right. It's, oh my god. It's so good, and it's so cute, and it's definitely like one I highly recommend to a lot of people who are kind of bored with the normal romance thing of like, hey, 13 episodes, they hold hands for the first time on the 13th episode, and then the show's over. Yeah.
I feel like you're calling out a very specific anime.
Oh, I'm calling out a lot of them, to be honest, but are we talking about Yamada-kun?
Yeah.
I have so many mixed feelings over that show.
Oh, it gets so much better in the manga.
Okay, so that's the most recent romance I've watched, because I watched that one last month, and it was just kind of like, gamer boyfriend. I'll watch it. I'm not expecting much. It's fine. I'll suffer through it because I already had my bar set low. And honestly, first couple episodes I was kind of okay with. Like, I liked the main character when she came in because she was very like ballsy. She was very salty. She's like, I'm gonna show up, look cute at this gaming event, and make my boyfriend regret it, kind of thing. Like, she had that whole air.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she drops that spiciness immediately after that, and it's never really shown again, and she just kind of drops into your generic nice to a fault, like kill him with kindness protagonist. I hate it. Like everything I liked about her character is just like kind of gone after that point. It's just, she's, even with like the little sister character, like there's no consequences for what happens with the little sister. Like, she does this horrible fucking thing. If you watch the show,
that was horrible.
Yeah. And instead of like allowing her to get reprimanded or anything, she's just like, we're gonna be best friends now. And that's a very stereotypical shoujo thing, and I don't fully fault it, but I was a little frustrated that it happened, and I was even more frustrated that it happened, and the sister never learns, because there's a point later in the series where another girl gets introduced, and she's still like, I'm planning on like doing horrible things again. Let's trick this person and bully them out of the group again. And she's not really reprimanded for it. She's just they're just kind of like, oh, you, kind of reaction to it. I hate that. I'm like, okay, so there's no character growth on her side from this. They just kind of handled it with like, oh, well, main character is so nice and generous that she forgives the little sister and wants to be friends with her, and now it's over. And then they pulled the whole thing of her being jealous of another woman twice, once with the little sister, for some reason thinking the little sister was old enough to be dating this dude. And then again with the glasses girl from his school. And I'm like, I don't like the fact that they pulled that twice before we even get a proper confession out of these two. Well, actually, yeah,
Yeah. Ugh.
we get
Oh
an
my god, the confession.
we get an entire fucking confession actually, in like midway through the series, and then it just gets ignored, and then we have to wait until like the very last episode for an actual confession to be taken seriously. And while I very very much respect that it's a confession from his side and not hers. Like I feel like that's more genuine because of the way his character, because his character is done really well. I like that we're
Oh
getting
my
to see a
god,
more
yes.
empathetic character male lead that isn't just like he's very different from your normal romance male protagonist. Um, and I have enjoyed it. It was very refreshing, and I like to see him do the confession because it feels like it's more, you can take it more seriously, because otherwise it'd be her confessing and then you kind of wonder like, oh, is he just kind of agreeing because he doesn't want to hurt her because of his past stuff kind of thing, and you don't worry about it as
Mm.
much. So I do appreciate, but again, he's confessed to her prior, so this is not the first time he said something of similar notion. I actually like the first confession a lot better. I thought it was a lot
Oh
sweeter.
my god. The freaking literally like I fangirled so hard. I was talking about it to you when you were talking about it as well. Like
Mhm.
this man literally said, "You're like a flower that is so far out of my reach." And this girl runs away
I
and like
know. And
does
they
not even acknowledge it.
and it never gets brought up. And I understand why he would never bring it up again, because it's very in line with his character to not like hold it over her head. But
Yeah.
the fact that she's still struggling, like, oh, we're just friends, like, oh, I don't have feelings for him, like, oh, I don't, like, the fact that we're still playing this game by the end of it. And I get that she's still like kind of getting over this ex of whatever hers, but like, I feel like the ex thing was dragged out far too long, and it if it's gonna be dragged out that long, it needs to be played on a lot more, which they stopped playing on it almost immediately when they dropped her entire character build up from the first couple episodes. So,
Yeah. I think that is something that uh like it's only mentioned in like 3 episodes, and
mm-hmm.
it's literally like the last 2 times it's mentioned is before like she realizes that she has feelings for him, and it's literally just like, oh yeah, so one, I feel like something's wrong with me because I was dumped, which I understand, believe me, I
Oh,
understand.
100%. Very
But
relatable.
like this is something that maybe you should have worked through like a little while earlier. Like, when you got dumped and had your whole meltdown, maybe you should have been like, talk to your friend who is there and like was there through the whole breakdown.
Right.
I'm like, instead, we waited 10 episodes for you to acknowledge that you feel like something is wrong with you. And before then, like, it's not acknowledged at all. Like she just seems like a normal girl. She's just happy. Like
Right.
this this is the first time that we've acknowledged that, yeah, I feel like I I there's something wrong with me because I was dumped.
Right. And I do kind of get to a degree that like, yeah, it's not something that you would really dwell on until it's some that the till the next person comes forward and is going to be like making you think this, because you're not going to think about like your insecurities when you don't aren't trained to be confident for somebody else. So once you're
Yeah.
presented with the next aspect of like potentially getting your heart broken, you're not going to think about it. But the
Hmm.
fact that they played on it so little, like at least give us some little hints of it, some like inner monologues or something, like give us a
Just small
little.
scenes.
Yeah, there's enough times when she's drunk with her friend that we could have gotten a nice little scene with them talking and her like slipping something out or something. Like,
Or like even like the scenes where she's in her bedroom alone, because there's a lot of those as well.
yeah.
Like, talk about it. And like that's something that like they did really well, as you said, on Yamada's character.
Mm-hmm.
where you have this closed, apathetic boy, and like she helps him grow and understand that he was not okay, and that like it's okay to move on. And then like you see all this growth on his side, and then the growth for her doesn't really happen until those last two episodes.
Yeah. And it's so rough because like a lot of my favorite scenes are generally just his reactions to things. It's him thinking she's mad at him when she does something embarrassing. It's like she dropped the glass and he goes outside because he thinks that he's done something wrong, so he goes and hides.
Oh my god.
Like it's things like that, or when he pulled her hair down because he just wanted to, and then he gets embarrassed about it, but he doesn't show it. He just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave. Um, like
Oh my god.
it's little things like that. Like his character is so well done. Even
Mhm.
like oh god, what's the other, the one that plays as a girl in the game, the older
Oh,
brother.
yeah. I can't remember his name, but yeah.
He's such a well written character as well. I love that he's like such a supportive friend to her the
Oh
entire
my
time
god.
in game, and it's like his personality outside of game. You can very much see how
He
he would
yeah,
transition to that. Like,
he's the same person, and it's so nice, like, even when, like, she confessed to, like, him and the other best friend, like, that
mm-hmm.
she had feelings for him, and they're both like, "You got this, girl, like, and if you don't, like, that's okay, we'll have your back," and I'm like, "Oh, I
You
love
know,
them."
you know what really pissed me off? Actually, now that I
What?
think about it, remember when? So she told him that she was going to confess to Yamada, like she was going to
Oh,
do it,
yeah.
and then she doesn't, and then he ends up running into the glasses chick, and she ends up confessing to him instead. And so he goes back to the apartment,
Yeah.
and
And he says
Blondie's
that he can't meet up that day. Yeah.
no, home dude is like, oh, let me guess, you got confessed to, and he's like, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and it's like he has the misunderstanding because he thinks how are they, Akane, um I think so their name,
Yeah.
he thinks that she's the one that confessed to him, and like I'm like, oh, there's about to be a whole misunderstanding here, this is about to get juicy. Never played on, never gets brought up again. Like it's a, they actually
Oh
just
my god. Yeah.
I was so aggravated.
It's literally the only time it gets mentioned after that is I think they were playing after that, Akane and uh Rurihime. However you
Yes.
pronounce that.
Okay, yeah.
Her.
Hmm.
Uh they're playing together and I think he was like, "Did you confess? I heard you confess." And she's like, "No, I didn't." And that's literally like I think the only thing that's talked about it.
I know, and
It's like, "What?"
it's like it has the foundations to be a really good romance to me because like the male characters are done so well, which generally is, I think, a lot of romance's weak points because they focus so much on the female characters. Unless you're going for an anime that's more geared towards guys, like Horimiya was, being a shonen. So
Mhm.
like, to have this strong of a male cast, to have this strong of a male lead, and for it to not only drop the ball with the main girl, but it just drops all the good moments and doesn't do them right. It makes me so sad. I want it better.
Yeah.
And I've seen like clips of the manga and stuff, so I know like some of the spicy stuff that happens because it floats around.
Yep.
But I'm like, I I don't know if I can be bothered to watch a season two.
If
I
they released a season two, I would absolutely watch it, but I have a really bad feeling it's gonna get shoujo syndrome, and they're just not gonna make a second season.
yeah, that's possible.
And I will cry.
Yeah, I don't think it's technically a shoujo. I don't
Is
think
it
it's.
not?
I think it's just a romance. I don't think it was actually listed as a shoujo. No, it's not. It's just, it doesn't have a demographic.
Huh.
So I mean, it definitely falls in line with a shoujo, but yeah, it was so frustrating. I was just sitting there watching. I binged watched all of it in 2 days, and I was like, man, I'm so aggravated. I'm so angry.
Like, that's the thing is like I really enjoyed it, but I can definitely see the aspect of it could have been better.
Mm-hmm. as a gamer girl, as someone who has been online chronically for the past 3 years, and even before that, as someone who has played MMOs and various other online games with various other team building, guild, club activity type things, I understand. I was gunning for this. I was like, okay, yeah, this can be really good. It's going to be very unrealistic because this kind of stuff does not go on well. Like relationships in games do not typically work out.
Yeah.
But like, we can fantasize about it. I'm fine with fantasizing about it. So it was like right up my alley. And the fact that I'm just frustrated.
I understand. There's a reason I went and read the manga because I was like, I was not happy with where it left or
Yeah.
like the way it felt.
I just wanted to see a good romance anime about gamers because the only other one that I've seen has been Wotakoi.
Wotakoi was good though.
It was, but it was also more like it was less gamer and more otaku, which is
Yeah,
fine,
it was,
which is
absolutely.
still very fine, but it also didn't focus as much on the like gaming aspect. I think Yamada-kun does focus better on like the side nature of like their hobbies, whereas Wotakoi it kind of was just like, oh yeah, normal scenario, but like here's a screenshot of possibly Sailor Moon on a that she's watching on her freaking handheld. Like it was just like this is gonna get me a lot of flack, and I apologize, but it kind of gave me like Big Bang Theory feelings because of Big Bang Theory is known for being like the nerdy sitcom, but a lot of times they just
Never watched Big Bang.
it's not good. It's just a normal sitcom about nerds that interact with one normal person, and they tend to spew out a lot of like nerdy jargon without it actually making sense. Like they'll say a whole little rant about like Star Trek or something and make a lot of references that'll make like your stereotypical nerd like, oh, they said the thing, but like you think about it and you're like, that actually just doesn't make sense in the context, and nobody acts like that. And I feel like Wotakoi kind of did that, like not as egregious, of course. I'm not comparing it to that, but it kind of had that kind of like, oh, there's the reference. I like that. But that was about the extent of the like gaming anime referencing within the anime. But otherwise, it's really good romance. I thought it was really cute. I don't like the main couple as much as I like the secondary couple.
The secondary couple was so well done.
Yeah, but I like it. I like it a lot more than Yamada-kun. I wanted more. I wanted more gamer. I wanted more otaku. I wanted more nerdy stuff within my nerdy stuff.
I just need more. I need my romance animes to not end in such like sudden ways.
Yeah.
Like that was the problem that I had with Say I Love You. It's the problem I had with Wotakoi. Like they just end. It doesn't feel finished.
Yeah. And I mean, like, there's OVAs, and of course you can always read the manga, but like, I think you're like me, where like you'll read the manga if you have to.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll read it if I have to, if I have no other choice, if I know there's not going to be another season.
Yeah.
But like, if there's even the slightest chance that they might release another season, I'm gonna wait.
Right. And again, like, I liked Wotakoi. It felt more like an office job romance than it did a otaku romance, which is fine. It's still probably in my top like 20 romances or top 10 even top 10 romances of all time, I guess, because I'm very picky on my romances. A lot of my romances I like out of trash, and if I'm giving it a fair shot of my actual romances that aren't trash that I just like for guilty pleasures. It's fine.
My like one romance that you just hated, and I'm like, well, would I rewatch it? Probably not, but like, it was cute when I watched it originally.
Are we talking about the furry one?
Yes, we're talking about the furry one.
God.
It was cute, okay?
what is it? The sacrificial princess and the king of beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I watched it. It was on my bingo board for this year.
The only reason Cyan would ever watch it.
It's just because it's so shoujo coded that I was just like, yeah, it's okay, it's fine. I know how this is gonna go, and it went exactly how I expected it to go. It's not that big of a deal. I actually probably would have liked it more if it didn't turn out like, oh no, he's hot. I think that pissed me off.
Okay, but he was already hot at the beginning.
No, but why did it have to be like, oh, he can't just be the king of beast. He has to have a secret hot side.
Okay,
Why?
that's very valid, but also he's hot. It's literally one of the main reasons that I was like, I like this.
Yeah, but it's
Attractive,
also
long-haired man.
very long-haired man. But it was just so like I liked the overall story of it. Yeah, I liked everything about it except for the main character. Let's just say that. I liked the world building. I liked a lot of like the political aspects they went into it and a lot of the dynamics between things. The way they built up the world was really nice. A lot of the side characters were really cool. I like the whole like subplot between the one princess and the general and
Oh my god, it's so good.
that was cute. But the the main character has shoujo main character syndrome where she is just good to a fault and everyone just eventually caves between her for her niceness and she just wins everyone over because she's super nice. And I hate it.
This is very fair.
I hate it so
But like
much.
honestly, I think the biggest reason that I liked the anime was literally like the political side of things, like
Mm-hmm.
the humans and beasts, like, and just like everyone getting. I understand the niceness thing where like the beasts grow to like her because she's kind and like, but like it's well written. It's so well written. Even like
Mm-hmm.
the when they go to the spotted cat thing, I can't think of their names at the moment, but like
The
their
Carcals.
kingdom with
Mm-hmm.
with the daughter who's just like I don't want to live anymore. That
Yeah.
was dark, but it's like it's really good. Like the storylines is really nice.
It is. Again, it was very meh to me. I was like, I didn't like the romance aspect of it. I didn't like the oh no, he's hot. I did not like the main character. I did like that they had the turmoil between the humans and the beasts, and that was played on. I like that they even pulled in a lot of like turmoil between other beast kind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to feel about the hyena dude. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't know if I like him. Okay, if he would stop sticking his tongue out at the
I
weirdest
have a
moments.
bias against hyenas, and I liked him.
If he didn't stick his tongue out at the weirdest fucking moments, okay? It was just like, oh, this is just
No,
gonna be
this
his
is fair.
quirk now. He's just gonna have like random tongue bloops for no reason whatsoever.
I like the little tongue blips. He was just adorable.
I like this whole story with like how his race was like apparently like one of the hated races and stuff, which didn't really make full sense to me because it seemed like the hated beast races were the reptilian ones, the less pretty ones. Like it seemed mammals were being prioritized, and then you throw in a mammal, and they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, we also don't like other mammals." And I'm like, "Okay, never mind. I thought y'all just hated fishes and scalies, but you know, y'all also hate other furries. Understandable. Have they?"
I think the reasoning they ended up saying was because hyenas are like liars and traitors or like
It was because
untrustworthy.
they sided with the other side during the big war between the beast kind because they had like that big discourse, and the hyenas took the other side that was
Oh,
opposed to the current crown.
okay then.
Yeah, or it was something like that. I don't remember. I haven't watched it very recently, and I don't remember. But I thought it was something like that. It was like the whole kind, like the whole race, like where a whole group of them had just. Is it a race? They're animals.
Species?
Species?
I think it's species.
Like I don't know, but it's. I mean, it's all supposed to be like racism in a kind of way, metaphor,
Yeah.
but it's like. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it. I liked it more than Yamada-kun. You can say that.
That says a lot. Damn.
That does not say
I
a
like
lot.
Yamada more. Did I actually? I'm like, damn, can I even? I think I liked Yamada more.
No.
I adored Sacrificial, but I think I'd rewatch Yamada over Sacrificial.
Oh my god. Alright, you ready for your first potential romance recommendation?
I'm ready.
You heard of Wolf Girl and the Black Prince?
No.
Okay.
Sounds
So
vaguely familiar.
it's a slightly messy one. Um so this one is kind of all revolving slightly around blackmail. Because so main girl is like kind of a liar, which kind of goes with like the whole wolf girl thing. She's trying to like make new friends and stuff out of school, and she's like saying, "Oh yeah, I have this really hot boyfriend, blah blah blah," and she's like trying to be like one of the popular kids, and so she like takes a picture of a really hot dude on the street and claims it's her boyfriend. Turns out he goes to her school, and he's really popular. And he finds out about it, and he's just like, "Hey, I won't tell anybody about this, but you got to become my dog first."
What?
Yeah. So it starts off that way. That's kind of like just the first episode or so, where he's kind of like a little sadistic to her, and he's just like, "Yeah, you just gotta do whatever I say, and I won't tell anybody that you lied, and I'll pretend to be your boyfriend." But as it goes on, she starts to see like, oh, he's not really like that bad of a person, and she kind of like learns to be more honest and stop like trying to show off as much. It's another one of those where they kind of grow together, and she starts seeing the good in him, and there's a lot of really cute moments in it though. It's short; it's only 12 episodes.
You say it's only 12 episodes, as with every other romance anime that I've been watching recently.
Hold on, let me see. It does not finish the manga, unfortunately, but
When does it ever?
exactly, it's shoujo, never.
I'm like staring at the artwork and I'm like, the guy is like hot, obviously.
The
The
girl is
girl's animation throws my brain off.
the girl is stereotypical shoujo protagonist.
Visually, she does not look like a stereotypical shoujo protagonist.
Oh. But I ended up watching it because he reminded me a lot of the main character from Maid Sama.
I would never ever watch Maid Sama.
You're not missing much, it's fine. You're not.
I have not even seen that much of it, and I'm like, ew.
Yeah, I watched it. It's very popular. I don't understand why it's very popular. It's okay. It's very nothing ever happens kind of romance. So
That doesn't surprise me.
yeah. What other romance have you watched that we haven't spoken about?
Kamisama is up there.
Mm-hmm. Which you've watched
But
more of that than I have, because I haven't watched the second season. I only watched the first
I was
season.
gonna say, have you seen Kamisama?
I watched the first season, and then the second season hadn't come out yet, so I had never watched it. And then by the time I got around to it, I need to rewatch the first season. So actually, I say that, and I might have watched the second season, but I might have just forgotten it because there's something I remember, and I'm like, that doesn't feel like a first season type thing to happen. Because
what is it?
So I've seen the Snake Dude, the introduction of the Snake Dude. I've seen the introduction of the rock star Crow Dude.
Yeah.
And I've seen she like gets trapped somewhere and Foxy Dude comes and saves her, but he has long hair all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah, no, that if that's what I think it is, that's second season.
Okay, so I've seen second season. I just don't remember it.
Because the second season, 90% of it is around the Gods Council. Where she goes and she meets Okuninushi, and gay wind god has a lot more of a place, and she gets told to watch over the entrance to hell, pretty much, which is sealed off. And then someone unseals it. The guy who Tomoe used to work with, but he's trapped in a human body. So they go down to hell so he can try and get his human body back, or his normal body back.
Okay.
And then, obviously, she can't get out. So Tomoe unseals his contract, I think, to go down and save them. Just like spoil the entire second season.
You're fine. I'm gonna be putting like timers on this for what anime we talk about, so anybody who wants to avoid spoilers, they can just skip through it. So
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. The second season focuses a lot less on their relationship than the first season does. That's for sure.
Okay. Interesting.
It's good. It just is another one that ends on a cliffhanger and makes me very angry.
Fair.
Because, like,
I have a you can continue your thought, but I have an anime that doesn't end on a cliffhanger that's a romance that I can recommend.
Oh, I am enthralled. Yeah, because it literally ends on one of those things where it's like, oh, like they're kind of in the, like they're getting really, really close after some kind of festival, and then it just ends, and then there's nothing else.
Oh wow, that's rough. Okay.
I was devastated.
See, that was one where I did consider reading the manga because I do like that kind of fantasy aspect, which I do. Because you like Kamisama Kiss, I do have an anime recommendation for you that is technically listed as the romance. I mentioned this before we started streaming or started recording. That I'll bring it up later. Because it kind of gives. It's got hot box boy, so all that matters.
Is it recent or is it?
No, it's not recent. It's older.
Okay, because I was like, I have seen one.
There is one that's
recently recent.
Yeah, there's one that's currently airing that's kind of similar. I only watched 2 episodes of it. I don't know how to feel about it, so I don't know if I'd recommend it yet or not. But
this is fair.
It is very similar to Kamisama Kiss and more of the vibe for it than the other one is, but the art style of the other one is very gorgeous. So,
last note on Kamisama before you move on to the next one. So I mentioned Tomoe as the person he used to work with.
Yeah.
So they introduced this new, very important antagonist. And literally, like, in this last season, but then literally, like, next to nothing happens with it before the season's just over.
Oh, love that.
That is literally one of my biggest frustrations with Kamisama. It's so well done, but it's just so unfinished.
Yeah. Maybe I will just read the manga.
Any day. Yeah, I'm gonna have to as well, because it's so sad.
We'll do it and then we'll recover it on a later episode.
Yeah.
When both of us have read the manga whenever that happens.
That'll take a while.
Yep. Alright, so recommendation for an anime that actually does finish its romance. Have you heard of Golden Time?
Yes, I think you've talked to me about Golden Time before.
So I probably brought it up before because the writer actually wrote Nana into the story as the neighbor of the main character.
No way.
Yes. She's a supporting character. She's just like the neighbor to the main guy. And she shows up in a couple episodes, but it's just kind of like an homage to the Nana series. Goading Time's kind of corny, but it's really fucking good. And there's some people that hate on it, but they hate on it for one specific scene that I don't personally have a problem with, but other people tend to have a problem with. So like, otherwise, 24-episode anime, decently long. If all that's wrong with it is one scene, I think it's fine. But it follows the main character. He's like lost his memory, and he's already like gone back into regular life and everything. He just does not remember anything before a certain point, and he's like going to college, and one of his friends is like his childhood friend who knows he's lost his memory and stuff, and he ends up running into like other people in school, and he runs into this girl, Kaga Koko, and she's at the very start when she shows up, she is dating somebody else, and they break up in a way right in front of them, kind of thing. It's I don't want to spoil the scene because the scene's really fucking good. I love it so much, and I think I know if you watch it, I'm going to get a DM in the middle of the night of what the fuck did I just see. But so they end up breaking up, and spoilers. Oh no, she breaks up with somebody, and she starts becoming friends with the main character, and it kind of follows them, like her getting through everything, and him developing a relationship with her, as well as kind of dealing with the potential of if he's kind of scared if he gets his memories back, he might be a different person because he doesn't know who he was before the accident that caused him to lose his memories, and he's kind of like, that's his ongoing fear because like, he doesn't want to lose his love for her just because he gets his memories back. And there's this whole thing with the childhood best friend who's like, I want you to get your memories back because I loved you when we were kids, kind of thing. And yeah. it's very corny, but it's so cute, and it has so many really cute moments, and they work so well together. And both characters are very unique to is it a shoujo? It is not a shoujo. It's an adult cast. So like they're all college age, high and higher. But like she's very feisty. And since he's the main character, so not having the female lead be the main character, he's not as one note as most male protagonist in a romance is, because she wants to do all the corny, lovey, cheesy stuff, and he's very happy to play into it with her, and it's so cute because it's like
I love that.
Exactly. So it's super cute. It's super fun. It does finish off, so you don't have to deal with the cliffhanger. So yeah,
Putting it on my list purely because, like, first of all, the main chick is hot.
She's so much fun. I love her so much. She was like my favorite female character for a very long time.
I like, as terrible as it sounds, memory loss tropes are I kind of am here for it.
Yeah.
Cuz like the idea of, yeah, I could have been a completely different person before, but I have no idea.
Right.
Also, I see the Nana reference, and I am sorry. Look at her!
I told you. That's probably why I brought it up before, because they have that reference in it, and I'm like, I can't recommend this one to you until after you have watched Nana, because it means so much more when you see her, because she lives next door in the room 707.
Oh,
Yeah. So.
oh, that makes my brain so happy.
Definitely a really good romance. Probably one of the few romances I can recommend that doesn't just destroy your heart, because most of the ones I like do just kind of pull at your heartstrings a lot.
Darn, I know it.
You know, oh, I haven't even recommended you the most egregious offenders of uh heartstring romances.
Look, man, I. The stupid thing was, I cried watching Say I Love You.
Which is valid.
I
But
absolutely bawled watching Nana, but that's a different story entirely.
okay. I'm gonna propose you a synopsis for a story to put you on level of what I'm talking about.
Oh god, okay.
So there's this romance where it's a group of friends, and there's a new kid that transfers to the school. And the day that he transfers to the school, they all mysteriously all get letters, or main character gets a letter. And the letter is supposedly from her 26-year-old self, 10 years in the future, detailing like, hey, don't fuck up. Here's what you need to do to fix my mistakes. Um, and at first she kind of like writes it off, and she's like, oh, this is just a joke, whatever. And then she ignores the first one, and things fuck up. And so she starts to kind of like going into it and playing into it, and she finds out all her friends also got a letter, and they kind of like, what they're doing is trying to make it to where this dude that just transferred into the school doesn't off himself by the choices that they make by accident, because they don't know the context of what's going on, because they don't tell you what's going on in the letter. They just tell you like, hey, make sure you don't, like, I think the first thing is, don't invite him out to come hang out with y'all today. Like, just don't do it. And slight spoilers for the first episode, they invite him to come out to hang out with them, and he is reluctant, and they kind of push it, and he comes and hangs out, and then he doesn't show up to school for the next like 3 days. And the reason he doesn't show up to school is because his mother killed herself because he didn't show up back home.
Oh god.
Yeah. So over the course of them trying to fix the rights, she slowly starts falling in love with him, and yeah, it's 13 episodes of straight depression of watching her fall in love with him while also trying to save his life.
Oh god.
Yeah. So when I talk about anime that a romance anime that will destroy you and make you cry, this is what I'm talking about.
I'm like, damn, part of me would like actually like be so invested, and then the other part of me is like, that is so dark. I don't know if I could handle that.
It's so very good. It is actually really fucking good. I've even went and read the manga for it, even though it covers all the story in the anime. So I did not just read the manga because it ends up. I could read the manga because I wanted to see if there was any changes.
Fair.
So anyone listening to this is wondering what anime I'm talking about Orange. So.
Oh, I know what Orange. I've seen Orange. I didn't know it was dark.
Have you not watched it?
No, I haven't watched it.
Okay.
I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that it was a really dark
It's
anime.
a really dark anime.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Cause like I've seen like the art style and everything for it, and it's, you know,
it's really fucking good. It's just really fucking depressing.
oh my god.
And like one of my other favorite romance shows that I also like. This one I think you would do better at watching because it has a lot more cuter moments, and it is probably about as depressing as like Nana can be, but like I don't think it crosses. It does actually, yeah, it does get a little darker than Nana. It gets about as dark as the Nana manga does. I'll say
Oh.
that. It's called Blue Spring Ride.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so this one starts off with like the main character duo, like they're in like middle school, and they obviously like have a crush on each other, and they're like playing tag and stuff, and he ends up moving away. And then it fast forwards to her being in high school, and she's like changed, and she's kind of like heartbroken. Her first love has like disappeared before she could confess to him, and blah blah blah. And she doesn't have interest in boys, so she kind of tweaked her personality to not like get attention from guys by like stuffing her face all the time and acting more like aggressive, so she wouldn't have to deal with like guys for confessing to her and stuff because she is really pretty. She's like one of the more popular girls in school if she acted more feminine. Um, and then one day at school, she sees what looks like her childhood crush walk past her, and she hears his name, and his name's different. So she like writes it off, and then she ends up confronting him, and apparently like it is him. He's just changed his last name, and he's moved back to school. And he's like, I was wondering how long it would take you to notice it was me. You've walked past me like so many times. And he's changed a lot over the years. Of course, he's gotten a lot colder. He isn't as like shy and reserved as he was. He's not the cute little boy that she remembered. And it's a lot of them kind of dealing with the fact that they liked each other beforehand and then learning to like the people that they have now become, while also kind of confronting what made them change in the first place. And like there's a whole backstory of why he is the way he is, and then there's all the stuff that she's gone through since he's moved away, and it gets dark. Some of the stuff that's happened is really fucked, but they have so many cute moments, and not all the cute moments are between him and her because she, spoiler, does get into a relationship with somebody else. And there's an awkward moment where she like falls, and I don't remember who it was. I don't remember who the character was, but she falls on top of this dude, and she gets a nice handful of something on this poor dude. And like it's a really embarrassing moment, and she's like traumatized. She's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I touched him there." And then he's just like, "Oh my god, she touched me there. Is she grossed out?"
Oh no.
But like she does try like switch herself to be like more feminine because she's like she does like him still, and she's like, I'm gonna try wearing makeup and try and like be more feminine. And like he just walks up to her and he's like, you look different today. She's like, oh yeah, I tried to like, spruce myself up. And then he like turns around and he just wipes the lipstick off, and he's like, it doesn't suit you. And it's so cold, but it's like he does it because he likes the way she is as she currently, and it's not because he's like being mean.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
That's crazy because like I've seen these animes and I'm like, I had no idea that they were like dark at all.
If I like them, they are probably either very smutty or very dark.
Okay, to be fair though, like the ways that I had seen Orange before was not through you.
Right.
So I had no idea. I just thought it was another school anime.
Oh yeah. I mean, it kind of is.
I mean, yeah. If I ever decide that I am done with my romance kick and want something different to watch.
Speaking of, have you watched? Because you watched you like the Sacrificial Bride. Did you like watch Ancient Magus Bride?
No.
It's a similar
purely because
it's a similar concept.
I know it is. I just know someone who really liked it, and I.
Valid. Okay, never mind. Understandable. Understandable. Have they?
Yeah, a certain person, it was one of their favorite animes, and I'm like, I have no interest in watching it.
Fair enough. It is really good though. It's Sacrificial Bride, but with I think a better done protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have the oh no he's hot moment, so it kind of like I feel like the feelings are more genuine because it's easy to
It's
fall for
not
a guy
hot
that's
under
hot.
the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
this is very fair.
but I think her character, because the main character in this one is also she's abandoned and kind of meant to be a sacrifice, but instead of just being super feisty, she's just kind of like lost her will to live, and she's just kind of like acceptant of everything. And instead,
So,
he kind of like gives her a reason to live instead of uh, her fighting for it. Like he kind of gives her the fight to do it. So I haven't watched the second season, so I don't know how that goes. But first season is mostly just her accepting that she does not have to die.
damn, that's sad.
Again, if I like it, it's probably depressing or smutty.
To be fair, like, I'm like, you did say it was like sacrificial, and I'm like thinking back to sacrificial. I'm like, um, yeah, where like Seraphi's entire existence, she was like, you know, I was born to be a sacrifice. I was never loved, and like all this, and it's like it is like that exact same thing where it's like she knew she was gonna die, and she had accepted that like there was no other reason for her life. It's like, damn, it's really sad.
Right. It is sad, but I think that's why I didn't like Sacrificial as much, is because I've already seen Magus Bride, and I think Magus Bride did that better. Because
That is fair.
they say that she accepted that she was going to die, but she doesn't really like play on it. But she just says it. She's just ballsy. Like it was less believable for me, I guess.
This
Um,
is fair.
but on the one that gives me like the sexy fox vibes. Here, I'm gonna link it to you. It's very comfy. Um, for the listeners, I sent her Bed and Breakfast for the Spirits. But it's a kind of a spirited away story where she ends up getting pulled away into the spirit world or the demon world, and she ends up having to work at the bed and breakfast for spirits, and like there's some stuff that's goes on with her past and stuff, and like why she's ended up in a place like this, and she potentially might know one of them, and she ends up engaged to like the owner of the inn and everything. It's really cute, but sexy fox dude, so you know, kind of Tomoe vibes. Tomoe if he was not aggressive and a cute little fox boy that could turn into a tiny little fox. Because
It looks very cute.
he does just turn into a tiny little fox creature. Like your tiny fox form reminded me initially of him. So
Oh my god, he's so cute. He's just a baby.
right. I initially had thought you'd base that form off of him, and then like I remember I brought it up at one point and you said you had never watched it, and I was like, oh, well, it's gonna be up your alley, potentially.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
so
Is it a romance?
it's listed as a romance. I mean, she's engaged to be married to one of them, so I guess that's why. But I don't
I was, I
really,
was gonna say because it doesn't really look like one.
yeah. I never really thought of it as one. That's why I was like surprised when I saw it on the list. I was like, I guess, sure, but only by the loosest of definitions because I like it's there. I guess it exists, but it is not why you watch it. It's like Fruits Basket. You don't watch it for the romance. You just enjoy that the romance is there.
So what would you classify it as? Is it a slice of life?
Um, more drama, like historical drama, spiritual drama, mythology kind of thing, I guess.
Okay.
Because it does deal with a lot like of yokai terminology and stuff, and
God, I love anime that revolve around yokai.
yeah. So they deal a lot with some of the politics of the different species of yokai and different events that go on in the yokai world and how a human is
Mhm.
perceived for being there, kind of thing. So,
So just based off that, it gives me like very loosely Noragami vibes.
kind of, yeah. I think
I
based off of the things like I know that you've liked, because you've liked Kamisama Kiss, you've liked Noragami, um,
Mhm.
and you like Fairy Tale, and you like stuff like that. I would assume this is very much up your alley, and this actually might
Oh,
get you off your
absolutely.
romance kick because while it is listed as a romance, it's not really that romance heavy.
Oh my gosh,
So,
yeah. Honestly, like this looks like something I would watch next after
mhm.
what I'm watching currently. Well, I'm technically watching two things currently, but
Imagine only watching two things.
technically there's others that I've started, but I don't have interest in watching them currently.
It's fair.
I cannot watch multiple animes at the same time.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could like only watch one at a time. I have I do not have ADHD, but when it comes to watching anime, I do.
See, I kind of do have ADHD. Just when it comes to like anime and stuff, I'm like, I have to like hyper focus on this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, like, it's not like I'm gonna forget what's happening in the anime, but like, I'd rather just try to finish one before moving on to another one,
Right.
or like, I'd say I can watch a maximum of like two at the same time.
Okay. I mean, makes sense. Mm, I'm doing I'm watching four right now. I think not including like
Jesus.
ongoing series like One Piece and stuff like that because I kind of like put on hold for a few weeks. But yeah.
I have two that I'm watching. One I'm not technically going to be watching here in a minute because the episodes haven't been released yet. The other one I got to be in the mood to watch because it's not a romance and I thought it was.
Wait, which one?
Monthly Girls magazine.
Oh, you're currently watching that one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm currently watching that.
When you mentioned that, I thought that was like something you've tried to watch in a while back.
No, I started it recently.
Fair.
Um, and I got like 6 episodes in, and then I was like, I want to go back to romance anime. So I
Yeah.
went and started A Sign of Affection.
Oh, I've heard that's good.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Like part of it, like there's some bits that frustrate me.
Hmm.
Uh, just with the way that the main guy, approaches her.
Uh huh.
But like otherwise, like it's really sweet.
Okay. It's on my to watch list, but I was waiting for it to like finish before I actually picked it up.
Yeah, I'd wait for it to finish because like I've binged the first like 5 episodes and I'm like, no, I'm almost caught up. And then I'm gonna forget to watch it again because I don't like watching it as it releases.
Right.
Because otherwise
Uh,
I just forget about it or I get frustrated waiting.
so there is a series of romance series, movies, things. I don't know what to call this. Um, I think they're really cute. I really like them a lot. They're really hard to recommend because they're so confusing. Um, there
Yeah?
is. I'm trying to pull them all up so I can have the references. So, one is called Our Love Has Always Been 10 Centimeters Apart. The other
Oh,
one is.
it's not 10 centimeters a second, is it?
No, that's 3 centimeters a second. Or something like that.
That.
No. Our Love Has Always Been 10 Centimeters Apart. This next one is I've Always Liked You. And then the third one is The Moment You Fall in Love. And this series of quote unquote movies and series are a series of romance shorts or sections, and each one follows like it's a group of six people, 7 people, all friends in a high school, and each one follows an individual couple, and their quote unquote romance. So like if you watch one and you're like, "Man, I really like the other couple that was kind of in the background." Guess what? There's a movie about them. Oh, you like the other couple instead? Guess what? There's a movie about them. So you can like, depending on who you want to focus on, you can watch the series, the one. I don't know what order you watch these in because I'm pretty sure I did not watch them in the right order. Because I watched the series first. So, I've Always Liked You as a movie. Our Love Has Always Been 10 Centimeters Apart is a 6-episode series. And oh my god, I lost the other one. Hold on. I have too many tabs open. The Moment You Fall in Love is a 1-episode movie. And there's also like what is the side story? There's I've Always Liked You a Friday's Good Morning, which is a special that ties into it. So it's like it's really cute. It's really fun. My favorite one is Our Love Has Always Been like 10 centimeters apart, because a lot of their moments are they kind of like hang out on these steps when they talk after school every day, and there's always like that 10 centimeters between their two hands that like they could just bridge the gap, and they each talk about it like internally, like it's only 10 centimeters, we could close it, but it would change everything if we did.
Oh.
And that's the whole like premise of that one. So like each of them has their own like kind of reasons for why they're named the way they are, and it's their own individual couples, but they're all in the same friend group, so you'll see the other couples in the background. I don't know the order. I don't know the order. They're so fucking good. And it's not a long watch.
Can you send them to me?
Yes. Copy. Let's see. As your DMs are just gonna be filled at this point with
I am okay with it.
Welcome to how I recommend things to Keja chat, because
literally just like sends me link to anime. Okay.
Yep.
But you saying that there's like multiple. Oh my goodness, they're all in Japanese.
Yeah, when you pull them up, they'll show you the English title with them. So
I'm just gonna pin these. Yeah. Yeah, you saying that there's like multiple movies around or shows around the same groups. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
So recently I watched Sasaki and Miyano. I don't know if you know what Sasaki and Miyano is.
I've heard of it.
Gay romance. It's decent. But like there's another movie as well that's a spin-off that focuses on another couple in the anime.
Okay.
Which unfortunately I couldn't find anywhere dubbed, so I couldn't watch it. But I'm like, it was pretty. Sasaki and Miyano is pretty good. It's just one of those things where it's like one person falls really, really early, and then the other one like does not.
So it's me for real, for real. I hate it
until the end.
I hate
Yeah,
it.
it's like It's really sweet because you said you've heard of it.
Mhm.
It's the entire thing is based around Miyano really likes BL manga.
Right.
And so he introduces it to one of his upperclassmen and starts lending him BL mangas and like Sasaki, who's the guy, is like, damn, I have feelings for this boy. But the boy is like, I've only ever had feelings for girls. And so it's like this whole like internal conflict of am I actually gay? Or uh is it just I like BL? And it's like, the like relationship between them is really sweet. Especially like Sasuke's internal dialogue, but it's also one of those things where like they really don't really get together till the end. And it
Mm,
kills me.
that's frustrating.
At least there's a kiss scene. They hold hands. Like there's things. It's just like and there is a movie for After.
Okay.
It's decent. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't
I'll.
call it like one of my favorites, but
I think it's on my plan to watch, but my plan to watch is also excessively long, so
yeah, very very long.
my plan to watch is longer than my watched list, which is very scary considering my watched list is 800 deep now.
Yeah, that is very concerning.
Mhm. Um,
I, I have seen it.
yeah. So,
Jesus Christ.
of anime that have come up on here that are like they're listed as romance and I've never really thought of them as romance before.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, it's very fantasy based. And it's a little older, but you've probably seen it around because it is the ultimate crossover anime, and a
Huh?
lot of people find it very intimidating to get into it. It's called Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, where the main character are basically Sakura and Shaoran from Cardcaptor Sakura, but they're not. They had, they are and they aren't. It is um so this anime revolves around Sakura and Shaoran, who are from this like desert kingdom, and so
Mm-hmm.
Sakura is the princess of the kingdom, and Shaoran's just like an archaeologist's son, and they're friends, and they have like these little community moments together. And first episode, they're like sitting on top of a hill, and she's like, "I want to tell you something before you leave on your next expedition into the ruins." Um, but like the bell rings, and she's like, "I'll tell you next time we meet then." But there is no next time because when he goes to the ruins, he ends up unlocking something that ends up triggering a whole series of fated events where her memories get fragmented into feathers that get transported to other dimensions, and he has to find these feathers. Now he like has to travel with her to get those feathers to return her memories because without them she'll die.
Oh.
So he has to make a deal with the dimensional witch to get the power to cross between dimensions. And in exchange for it, like she's like, I'll give you it, but you have to have an equal exchange. And his exchange is she will never regain her memories of you. So he'll never find out what she was
Oh.
going to say. And they go on this whole journey, and they like end up getting two other people that have their own little story, Phi and Kurogane, that have their own reasons for wanting to travel different worlds. One of them wants to return to his world because he got portaled out, and the other one is running away from something in his world. Um, and the entire adventure is them going to alternate dimensions. Some of the dimensions are other works from the same company, Clamp. So you'll see characters from Cardcaptor Sakura, you'll see characters from X, you'll see characters from RG Vega, XXXHolic, like all the different work that they've worked on. You'll see reoccurring characters, and each world has its own like system of magic or system rules, and people are trying to get these feathers because they have a lot of power to them. And it deals a lot with like alternate versions of yourself. Like you share a same essence, but you're not the same people, so they'll run into familiar faces sometimes, but they don't know who they are. And the whole romance between the two of these is like, it's dealt with in the first season, I think, where she's starting to get her memories back, and she's like, Sharon, you've been with me all this time, so who are you to me? Why can't I remember you? Like, I've gotten so many of my memories back, but I can't remember you. And she starts noticing these voids in her memory, and she's like, what if these are you? Like, what are you to me? And in the middle of her trying to remember, she just blacks out. Oh. Because that's the curse, is the deal is she can't remember him, so she can't even be made to remember him. Because it would break the deal. And it's so sad, but it's like, it's a very good fantasy show. So I think it's really weird that it's listed as a romance, because again, it's there. But it's there that it's never going to happen. Like, I mean, granted, of course, they could always fall in love again, or she could fall in love with him again, but it's like, it's not the same.
Not the same.
They've known each other since they're kids, and she doesn't know half of their life together. But it's such a beautiful show. You like fantasy shows a lot, so I think you'll dig it when you get off your romance curve. There's 2 seasons of it, and some OVAs. It does not finish the manga. It gets very confusing once you get into the manga, though. It kind of cuts off abruptly, but it doesn't cut off badly. It's like it's kind of like a Nana cut off, where it's like, you know, it's okay that it ended here. I want more, but it's okay. But the manga does finish. It's just things like immediately happen as soon as where the anime cuts off. That so much happens, and it's so complicated. And the only reason I read the manga was because I ended up watching in one of the OVAs. And I was so confused because the OVA happens after the anime, the original anime. And I was like, okay, one dude's missing an arm, another dude's missing an eye, one of them's a vampire, what's going on? All that happened in like 2 chapters. There's only 2 chapters between the end of the anime and that OVA. And
oh my god.
Yeah, a lot happened. I'm exaggerating, it's probably more than 2 chapters, but it's like, it's not a lot between the 2 of those, and I'm like, why would you not just animate this happening? I'm so confused.
Do they not even explain it, or like do backstory or anything?
Not for the OVA, no. Like,
oh my god.
But yeah, I jumped into the manga, and the manga goes well, and this manga / anime also coincides with an anime called Holic.
Oh yeah.
Where you can watch these 2 side by side, because the dimensional witch he makes a contract with is the dimensional witch that is the main-ish character of Holic. So sometimes when you're watching Holic, you'll see her talking into a portal to the main characters of Tsubasa RESERVoir Chronicles. And sometimes when you're watching Tsubasa RESERVoir Chronicles, you'll see them talking to her, and you'll see stuff happening in the background. And if you have watched Holic, you know what's happening in the background because you know what episode this is. So they tie in together. They're not necessarily, you don't have to watch them together. But if you do, it's cool to kind of see that little cross play between the 2 of them.
I think you've told me about Holic before, right?
Holic's very, it's kind of like an episodic show where main character, well, it's a shop that does odd jobs, request kind of things, supernatural type things, like, and it's always for a price of equal value, and the values isn't necessarily like decided by Yoko, the main character. They're decided by the worth of the the item to the person making the request. So like, you could give her a ring. It could be a plastic ring, but if it's something that's very dear to you, it's worth a lot more as a compensation. But it's everything from like dealing with main characters, like dealing with spirits, like he's can see spirits, so he goes to her to help, and she ends up helping him, and he ends up getting kind of trapped in her shop and dealing with her and all her crazy jobs because of it. And it's it's fun. It's a very easy watch. It's just the art style of Clamp is very hard for some people to get used to because they have very long bodies and arms and legs.
Yeah.
But, and it's very
That's
noticeable in
what
Holic.
I'm seeing.
But
Yeah.
Holic's OP was in that OP thing I gave you at one point. The OP opening tier list thingy.
Yeah.
Place. Yeah. Because it's one of the openings from it. Because God, that opening's so good.
I'll be honest, I don't remember. I just remember disliking it.
You did not dislike it, actually.
Did I not?
No, you liked the opening for it. You were cut off by like one of the visuals for it, but you liked the opening. You just it didn't make it that far, but I think in the second round it went against like Noragami or something.
Oh. So. Yeah.
You definitely like this because it was one of the very groovy like openings. It's not like one of the more aggressive ones. Yeah, I find it weird. I find it weird that this was listed in romance. I get it, I do, but it's one of those like I don't recommend it for the romance. I recommend it for like the fantasy aspect of traveling between worlds, kind of mystical stuff. So, is there any romance anime we miss? Like other than like Fruits Basket, of course. We didn't talk much about that, but we're gonna cover that later.
Yeah. Is there any other?
Because I do still have like 20 tabs open, but
I mean, My Happy Marriage is there, but we already know your opinion about that one.
Oh my god. I forgot about that one, actually. I was happy I forgot about it.
It also depends on if you count Ouran as a romance, which I don't know that I do.
I count the manga as a romance because it's more romance related than the anime is.
The anime is much more just the harem side of things.
And even then, it's not even that like heavy played into it. It's more slice of life comedy.
Yeah.
The manga is definitely more harem based because you definitely get more of the twins action and more of that development.
I loved the twins.
I did too. Not my favorite of anybody in that cast, but you know.
Oh no, I had my favorite was oh god, what was his name? Hold on.
I swear to God, if you say Mori.
No, not Mori.
Okay. Kyoya.
Kyoya.
This is why we get along.
What can I say? He's hot and he's smart.
He's a smart asshole. That's why he's my favorite too. I just love me a guy that can manipulate me. That's all.
Oh god, don't even get me started on that.
He could though. He would if he got something out of it.
He literally manipulated the entire host club just to be able to wriggle his freaking dad's business out from under him.
You know what still cracks me up? is the
What?
scene where Tamaki is like, "Mommy, they're being weird again," and they're like, "Who the fuck is Mommy?" And Kyoji's like, "I'm assuming that's me."
He's mommy, and then Tamaki is daddy.
No, just no.
That's literally what I'm pretty sure that is literally said at one point.
It is multiple times. It is not just said at one point. It is said throughout
Exactly.
the entire series, but like,
I would not say it if it was not part
I'm
of the
I'm just saying that show has
I
aged.
hate it.
That show has aged so like it's really really good, but it has aged so poorly in far as its terminology because what we associate with daddy now is
Yeah.
not Tamaki.
I believe me, when I watched it, that was not in my mind, because thank God, I would never.
Oh my god. I love that show, but I wish it would get a remake. I know it wouldn't do well if it got a remake, but I want it to because I feel like if they do a remake for it to be true to the manga, it's going to be more serious. And I feel like a lot of the reason people liked Ouran was because of how ridiculous it was. So I feel like if they cut that out, it's not gonna do as well. Because all the nostalgia peeps are gonna be like, oh, they ruined it.
Even though it's literally just based on the manga instead of.
Yeah.
I mean, I really adored the comedy aspect of it though. Like that
I
was
did
a lot
too.
of what gave it its charm.
I did too. But like, once you've read the manga and you see what it could have been as well, and like, this is very rare for me to say. I do not prefer the manga over the anime by any far, but to see what it could have been is very interesting because not only do they leave it off very early,
Oh yeah.
there's so much that happens. There's so much that fucking happens. Like seeing them finally get together. Oh my god, spoilers. I'm sorry. Tamaki and Haruhi do actually get together in the manga. It was so
Yep.
refreshing. It was so fucking refreshing. Like
I would honestly just be curious about them making a season 2 in general. Because they could. Could they not continue it off from where they left it?
I I think it would be a licensing issue.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it would be depending on the studio that had the original license to make the anime, they would have to have the same license. And if it's the same people that still run that studio, what studio even did Ouran? Uh,
Uh
let's see. Ouran Host Club TV. Oh, Studio Bones. So studio is still around, but I don't know if the studio is. I don't know if Studio Bones would pick up Ouran because they've got their cash with Boku no Hero right now.
oh. I was like, I have no idea who Studio Bones is.
Studio Bones has is very known for My Hero Act right now, but they've also done, I believe, Noragami and Bungo Stray Dogs.
Oh.
So you
Can
are
they make another
you're very familiar with Studio Bones.
Noragami? I am very familiar with Studio Bones. Most of my favorite anime were made by them.
Yeah. Let's see what else did they do. Full Metal Alchemist, Soul Eater. I guess the only thing they really are kind of working on right now is My Hero, but that's still like a huge release for them. So
Are they not making another season of Bungo? I don't know if Bungo was finished.
since I haven't finished season 5, I don't know if it's finished or not. But
I don't know either.
season 5 is still fairly recent. It was like late last year, right? So
Yeah, it only came out recently.
yeah. Oh, they also did Mob
Uh,
Psycho 100, so that's another big name that they have.
uh I have watched those.
Yep.
There is only the last season that I haven't watched.
Yeah, Bones does some good work, but
That's also a very broad range of art styles.
It is, well, it's because it's a studio thing, but like,
Yeah, it's a production rather than.
yeah. But they do tend to pick up the things that are very popular with female fan bases.
Really? Because I would say Mob and My Hero Academia are more.
Oh, I am sorry. I am sorry. Have we missed all the shippers of the freaking crusty dude and the freaking scabby dude as the villains and the lazy eye bag teacher? Have we
Alright.
okay.
Excluding that,
Have we
I
missed
would
the amount
say
of people?
literally.
Have we missed the amount of
Mhm.
people that are in love with Reagan?
We don't talk about Reagan people
Okay.
again.
Okay.
That is a completely different group of people.
But it is the fan base.
Wait, so does that mean they made One Punch Man too?
Um
Because isn't Mob and
Mob and One
One
Punch
Punch?
Man are done by the same mangaka, but I don't think they're done by the same animation studio. No, they're not.
Oh,
One Punch Man was done by a different studio. Who did One Punch Man? Let's see. Oh god, I have to watch this at some point too. Still,
what, One Punch Man?
yeah, it's on the bingo board.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah, One Punch Man is done by Madhouse, so different studio.
Okay.
Uh, that's an interesting studio, actually. This is the complete opposite of the like Bones because very male oriented uh animes. No Game No
Yeah?
Life, Hunter x Hunter, uh Overlord.
Overlord. Yep, that'll do it.
Actually Madhouse did Nana, but
Oh,
uh
that was a while ago.
yeah, Black Lagoon, One Punch Man, High School of the Dead.
High School of the Dead. Oh, God.
Yeah. So very, very different studios.
Yep.
My god. Both very good studios still, but jeez.
Two very different audiences.
Yup. Oh my god. Alright, any other romance animes you wanna bring up? Cause
Uh,
so I could talk about the
again,
zombie love anime or the fish people anime or the one is that is basically just me.
what?
Lovely Complex is about a really tall girl who ends up dating a guy that's really short.
Oh. Love that.
Yep. She's super self-conscious about her height because she's super tall, and he's super self-conscious about his height because he's super short, and they become friends, and then they start dating. Uh,
Oh, that's really cute.
it is, but it's just me, and I hate it. Uh, which I think she's actually shorter than me. Yeah, she's shorter than me, so.
It's like freaking Tomo-chan is a girl, and everyone was saying that that's just you.
I hate that so much. I tried watching it because I was like, you know what? It is just me. Because it really is just guys being like, oh, you're just one of the dudes. Like, but then I watch it and I'm like, no, I'm not that bad. Please. I'm not near as bad as this chick. Leave me alone.
I've not watched it, so I don't actually know.
I watched one episode and she's super tsundere and like anger. Alright. Well, that's gonna be it for this week's episode, or and our talk on romance anime. Keja, where can they find you in the meantime?
I stream on Twitch at Kejames13, and then I also have a Twitter under the same name.
Yep. And you can also hear on Digimon Conflict, which releases concurrently with this podcast on the same YouTube. I am Cyan Kincaid. I stream over on Twitch. You can find me on Twitter. You can also find any updates regarding this podcast and the other podcast on RiceCon Podcast at Twitter. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Google Podcast. And if you want to check out the Digimon Conflict and let us know, go ahead. Keja will definitely be on here again because we have other things planned for sure. But
Yeah.
can't wait for that one.
I'm so excited.
But till then, we'll see y'all next time. Bye.